one of my family members, one of my guys, my audience members, right? They tapped me on the show. They said, "Hey, when are we getting the Lombardi pod this week?" And I just thought that was the flyest, spiffiest name in the world, the Lombardi pod.
Broaddus.
It ain't got to be official, but boy, Broaddus is spiffy. YouTuber Voch Lombardi, NFL scout, former NFL scout Bryan Broaddus, Cowboys.com, Draft Show, Love of the Star podcast, which does incredible numbers. Everywhere you can find them, Bryan Broaddus on Twitter. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. And you know what? If we just called this the Voch Lombardi show, I'd be happy with that too.
Never.
Because I appreciate being a guest every week with you. Love working with you. You got some great insight. You got some great family members that follow along, and just love being a part of the platform. It's something good for me to be able to bounce ideas off people every week. I always take the opportunity to do that, and you're one of the best to do it. So we continue on every Friday on this journey.
Means a lot to me. Shouts out to my family members. Some of y'all hooligans. Some of y'all not even all that great. But appreciate y'all for tuning in. Thanks for
some of your family
here.
members hate me, so that's okay too.
They don't like me neither, but they'll be right here. Today we're going to take a look at a mock draft, and you know this is more of a conversation type of pod. We're going to be doing that, a lot of breaking down stuff and a lot of opinions here. And then after I noticed that that a handful of players I like did not make this mock draft. And there's some of these characters on this mock. I'm like, man, how did they get here over that guy? We're going to do a little bit of Would You Rather later. But we're just going to start off with this mock draft. So we're not going to go through all 32 picks because that'll be insane, Bryan Broaddus. But I do have a handful of points on this mock that I did think were interesting. So let's do this. Former scout, you, right? Mm-hmm. I just want to ask you this, right? If you were in the seat, if you were a Bears scout, the Bears, if you was in charge of everything over there at the Bears, right?
Right.
They're in a very particular situation, right?
Yeah.
Because I know you like picks, but I know you like dudes, and I don't know where you were on Justin Fields, right? So just this Bears situation, you have a quarterback. Mm-hmm. Everything around him is kind of goofy, so you could have the mindset of, hey, let me just build around this dude with these picks that I have. Somebody wants Caleb Williams. Let me get this huge ransom for him, right? And then let me use that ransom to build around the quarterback that I have already. Or do you get this stud of a dude, this I don't want to call him generational because you know some of these other guys were not too long ago, but this elite quarterback prospect, which is a question mark, right? You know, as far as on the field is not a whole bunch of questions, but the off the field stuff, some of the things in the news that we're hearing, you know, some people may question his toughness and, you know, things like that. I don't think I've ever heard anybody question Justin Fields' toughness or whatever. Or do you trade the first overall pick and you trade Justin Fields, get Kirk Cousins, and you get 1,000 draft picks? What do you do here, Bryan, in this this Bears situation?
Well, you walked me through something that I really man, that would be tough to be a Chicago Bears, Ryan Poles, who's the general manager there. I think it's a very difficult situation that he's dealing with right now. Yeah. There's some very good traits about Justin Fields as a player. I mean, you watch him. I think the fact that he's had to deal with different offensive coordinators, I think he's had to deal with a lot of different things. I think that they've tried to get him some weapons. They haven't completely done that. His ability to make plays in the open field, I still think he could throw the football. The thing with Caleb Williams, though, is, he's a guy, too, that you watch him play and you see the escapability, you see the accuracy, you see the playmaker, you see, there's just so much to like about his game. But, man, I mean, I'm having a hard time because I'm also believing if I could get my coordinator right, if I could get weapons around Fields right, I can salvage this thing. The Bears are the worst example right now of dealing with franchise quarterbacks. Look what they've done. Yeah. With Mitch Trubisky's of the world, and they've had cracks at this. This will be the third crack at it. Yeah. At some point in time, you're going to have to stand there and say, maybe it's not the quarterback. Yeah. Maybe it's the OC. Maybe it's the guy who's blocking for the quarterback. Maybe it's the guy who you're throwing the ball to. Maybe it's the lack of a lot of things there. And I'm putting my reputation on the line because Ryan Poles, he's got a tough call, because he could potentially trade that thing back. And, he could pick up another, maybe a next year's one. He could pick up a couple other things that could really, really help his team. If he has confidence in drafting as a general manager, he'll trade that pick. He'll trade that pick because he'll know he can fix his team. To me, I don't think that Justin Fields is the problem there. I really don't. And it makes me nervous if I was the general manager, because I feel like that, wait, I could help this guy. Let me draft. If I go out there and I choose to trade the pick and just start drafting players and it doesn't work out, then I'm going to get fired.
Sure.
But Caleb Williams goes on to be, a great quarterback. He is the top quarterback in this draft, no question. Yeah. Can he make an absolute difference? Yes, he can. Can he make a difference with the current weapons that Chicago Bears have? He absolutely can. So that's kind of how I feel about it. I feel like Fields is salvageable, and I'm going to try and help him. And my legacy with the Chicago Bears is going to be put on him and his potential development going forward.
Caleb is such a dude, right? And
sure,
when you have a dude, I feel like you have a shot every year. Like the Chiefs just won a Super Bowl, right? And they built around Pat, right? But if you have him, you have a chance. If you have the Bills, you have a chance. But there's this other train of thought that I more so lean on, Brian, is that you can go to a Super Bowl with Jalen Hurts and Brock Purdy, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can go to, you can go with Jared Goff or, one of these Case Keenum type characters, just if your house is built properly, right? So this may sound like some nonsense. I may sound like a maniac, right? But I think this is a nice draft in the first round. Like this is a pretty top heavy draft, if you ask me. If I'm the Bears, Brian, just me, I'm moving out of that pick. I'm getting out of there. I'm going to find an offensive coordinator that can use Justin Fields and his legs, and I'm going to go get that dude, one of these offensive linemen that I love a whole bunch. A gang of these receivers are in this draft. A lot of them are at the top. Go and find you. That defense actually got really good towards the end of the year. So you really just need
Eberflus started calling it.
He started calling
the coordinator. Matt started calling. That's Matt's area of expertise.
Sure.
Is that defense. You're right, Voch. That's the thing about it to me. You've got offensive linemen, you've got tackles, you've got guards in this draft you can go get. You've got plenty of wide receivers. You've got pick 1 and pick 9.
Yeah.
You want to move that thing back, you're going to get more picks.
Yeah.
You could sit there in range and get the best wide receiver if you want.
Yeah.
You could get the best offensive tackle if you want.
Yeah.
Man, put it on those other players. Don't put it on your quarterback.
Sure.
Quarterback's good enough. I believe he is.
Sure, I agree. And if, Caleb Williams could be your Herschel Walker here, right? To where he's the guy that gets you all these other legends if you draft correctly. I don't know, man. It's a hell of a pickle, and I just see a lot of people just say, all right, clear cut, this should be Caleb Williams. And Caleb Williams is a much better prospect than Justin Fields was, man. But I think you have an opportunity to hold some dude ransom, some GM, some owner, whoever. You have an opportunity to hold somebody ransom. Like, hey, come get Herschel Walker, man. Come get this guy, but give me everything you got, and I'm gonna rebuild my team. But I just want to get your thoughts on that. It's gonna be a pretty fun discussion moving forward. Back to this mock. Drake May and Dan Quinn aren't that exciting. So cool, fine. That's
the thing about it is, I wonder about the whole thing with Drake May.
Please.
And I wonder if some others are going to feel like that Drake May, I know a lot of people are plugging him in as the 2, and that's the Commanders guy and all that.
I got Daniels there too.
I wonder when they really sit down and evaluate him if Drake May is the second best quarterback in this draft.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my question right there. I have more questions. There's a couple of players in this mock draft as I went down. I know we're dealing with the Daniel Jeremiah mock draft here. And there was a couple of spots. There were a ton of spots where I went through it and I'm like going, man, this got me a little bit of some question marks here.
Yeah.
But I wonder really where Drake May is going to fall on a lot of boards. I just want. He physically looks the part.
Sure.
But does the play match how he always looks and how he plays? And when you really break him down, here's a guy that had one top 25 victory against Miami last year.
Sure.
Multiple games with multiple interceptions. Yeah. There's some questions that I have about him as a player. He comes from a great bloodline. Played against his dad when I was at LSU. Yeah. He was at North Carolina. outstanding family, athlete, all these things. But I think there's some teams that are going to like some of these other quarterbacks maybe better than Drake May. So I'll be interested to see if the Commanders are one of those teams. Man, this thing starts, here we go, 1-2 right off the jump.
Yeah.
Who's really the guy that people really like.
Honestly, Bryan, if just me as a Cowboys fan, if the Washington Football Wizards take Drake May, I'm thrilled. I'm excited. If we have,
I think I'm okay too.
Yeah,
I think I'm okay too.
If they take Jayden Daniels, I'm a little more upset though.
There we go.
I think,
and I'm not saying this, because of an LSU situation,
Sure.
but if you ask me, I would take Williams, Daniels, and I like Michael Penix.
Mm-hmm.
I am a Michael Penix guy myself, and then that puts Drake May in my book about 4th on that list.
Sure.
So I'm totally different than anybody else. And this quarterbacks are a hard position to evaluate. I'm not making excuses about that, because you could be really, really right. I remember, getting an argument with Jeff Kavanaugh and Kevin Turner about this, about Patrick Mahomes, and where he would fit. And they're all different. Yeah. But I think there are more questions about May out there than everybody immediately just kind of plugging him in at 2, and he very well could end up at 2. But I do have some questions about the player.
Yeah, and May is a cool player, right? But I just saw Jayden Daniels versus some of the best defenses in the country. I seen him put up 30, 35, 40 points on those guys like consistently, right? And his sorry, Bryan, but if the defense was a little better,
defense is horrible. No, you're not wrong.
You probably have a national champion.
You're saying right now. Yeah, anything you're saying right now is absolutely true.
Yeah,
it was historically one of the worst defenses in college football. Mm-hmm. Jayden Daniels won 10 games because of his ability to lead a team. The only problem with him is his build. Sure. He's a slightly built player, but he's got rare escapability. He's accurate. He's tough. He can run. He's everything you want in a quarterback, with the exception he doesn't look like Drake May. That's the only problem right now with Daniels.
Mm-hmm. Yep, fair enough. Let's move on a little bit. The New England Patriots take Marvin Harrison Jr. Yeah. And so when do you think some of these runs kick off a little bit, right? Because I know Marvin should go high. I think one more quarterback's probably going to go before. The Patriots probably wouldn't just sit on their hands and not go quarterback here. They've been having mess at quarterback all year. But I do think that once the first 3 quarterbacks go, Daniels, May, and Williams, however the trade-ups go, then I think wide receiver goes. But then I think this is where the wide receiver offensive tackle run happens a little bit.
You're right. This is where, to me, you're going to get a couple of those wide receivers go, depending on which way you like it. If you like Neighbors over Harrison, it could flip flop for a lot of teams. I talked to some folks with the Giants about this. They're dying for a wide receiver. So we're kind of in that mode right now where they will look at these wide receivers and try and make sure that they get them in the right order. Mm-hmm. You mentioned the offensive tackles. If you look at Dane Brugler's, and we trust Dane Brugler, we like Dane Brugler, and I think that Dane Brugler's pretty accurate about, because he has a lot of connections with NFL teams. Sure. And so when you looked at his top 100, you saw all those tackles were stacked in there, like Bill Parcells used to say, like club sandwiches. Mm-hmm. They were all just, one after another. One was 13, 16, 17, 18. Not, they were all graded the same. Sure. That's where I think the run is going to be too. It's going to be early on the wide receivers, because of the guys, like I say, which order that you want to go, because the Washington kid Odunze he's in there as well. Mm-hmm. He's clearly in there as well with those receivers. So once you get past the Giants, then maybe you'll start to see the run of the offensive tackles.
So Bryan, let me ask you this, right? So they're all in there stacked up, club sandwiches, okay?
Club sandwiches.
Harrison, Neighbors, and Rome Odunze. Okay, so when I go on Twitter, right, I don't really put my opinions out there until like April. That's when I do my rankings, really.
Sure.
So I'm telling people, I'm saying, hey, there's gonna be some people that like Neighbors more than Harrison. I ain't saying it's me just yet, but some people will. Hey, some people are gonna like Rome Odunze a little more than Marvin Harrison. I don't know if I'm in that boat, but there's if you just look at traits, some people are. So Bryan, I haven't heard you talk about Marvin Harrison very much.
Yeah.
Could you tell me what you think about him, and do you think that it's far fetched that somebody could like Rome Odunze or Malik Neighbors more than Marvin Harrison, sir?
No, I don't think it's far-fetched at all. And the thing is this, when you watch Harrison, and I'm just kind of looking through my notes, you know, I mean, I scouted his dad, which is hilarious. And I say that a lot nowadays. But this kid is one of the best weapons in college football. You know, the body control, the balance, the routes all over the field. He'll line up inside, outside. You know, I mean, he makes a ton of plays for you on the move. And he catches the ball really, really well in his hands. He's got no problem adjusting to any pass thrown his direction.
Sure.
We talk about the catch radius, the job of how he's able to escape press coverage. He can separate quickly. He gets down the field in a hurry, and he presents himself as a really good target. He's super reliable. And,
Sure.
you watch him, play in some huge games like against Penn State and Michigan. And, you could tell the game is important to him by the way he plays. And I think there's some Jamar Chase to his game. I really do. At 6'4", 205 pounds, you watch him play, it's almost like he's just gliding.
Yep.
He's just that fluid route runner. But I'll tell you what, man, I mean, he's a special player. And, whoever gets him, I could see a lot of people having him as the first receiver. I know I have my LSU guy there, right there with him, because I think there's some, other than the height, I think there's some similarities between Harrison and Neighbors as players. I really do.
See, I love yak guys, Bryan. I love yak guys. I love that because when you have yak guys, no matter who you have throwing the football, whatever I give you, a yak guy can just give you a little bit more.
Little bit more.
That's what I like about Neighbors. See, and Marvin is quarterback friendly in his own right? Because he's a catch radius guy, route runny guy. They say Marvin's gonna run a 4.3. I don't think Marvin's gonna run faster than Neighbors because I just don't think that the film says that. Like Marvin can run, but Neighbors look like he's flying out there. So I'm
Neighbors, See, and folks, please don't get on Voch because of my LSU bias and love and all that. These LSU kids really are good players, and LSU's put some outstanding receivers in the NFL.
Sure.
This kid is one of the best to ever play at LSU. Trust me, I've seen them all. And he is a special player. And you're right about the run after catch. And he had the one of the best quarterbacks in the country throwing him the football.
Yeah.
And he again, here's another guy just really loves to play the game. There's passion in the way he competes. He eats up cushion on defenders. I mean, or he could just blow by guys. He generates a ton of speed going up the field. And the route running is outstanding. He could sell it. He's a master of the double move, the stutter go. Anything that you want to run, he could turn those defenders around in a heartbeat. And he's super friendly for his quarterback because he makes all the catches. He go low, he can go high, he can extend. That's to me. And you mentioned it, the run after catch. That he's a game breaker that way.
Sure.
He's physical with the way he runs the ball, and that's hard on defensive backs to have to tackle him.
Sure.
He's got like a running back build. He's 6 foot. He's 200 pounds, and he just kind of explodes, through people when you watch him play. And so I went to school there, but trust me as an evaluator, take away the school, take away my what I know about the players. This kid is a special player. He really is.
I didn't go to LSU. I didn't go to Ohio State. I didn't go to Washington, right?
I got beat by Ohio State one time in a game.
I'm just watching film, man. And the reason why I'm really taking time to talk about these guys. Someone asked me, shouts out to KD Drummond. Shouts out to him. He was like, hey, man, is this
a good dude?
Great dude. Is this like a Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, CeeDee Lamb, Jefferson type deal? And I don't necessarily think so.
These cats might be better players.
Because these three dudes are elite, Bryan. That's what I'm saying.
These guys might be better players. Yeah.
Correct. Like Henry Ruggs ran fast. Like Jerry Jeudy was a route runner. These three dudes do like everything, but they have what they do really well. Bryan, Rome Odunze, right? right? He can turn his body in the air, right? Yeah. He could like his ball tracking, his body control. He can run. He's a huge dude, right? Like he's not just I'm tall fast guy. Like I'm tall, but he's like 210, 215 or something like that. If
215, 6'3", 215.
That's humongous. If last year was the little bitty receiver year, like there's a lot of bigger receivers this year, right? And Rome Odunze to be a dude that can run. Look at this. Come on, where's my mouse? Rome Odunze to be able to be a huge guy, can run guy, snatch the ball out of the air guy, strong hands guy. You know, somebody's gonna tell me about his route running, but Bryan, honestly, looking at the National Football League, a lot of these dudes aren't even running routes anymore. They're running to a spot. They're getting the football and they're being yak guys. Give me a little bit more. AJ Brown hasn't run a route all year. He's either running a go, he's running a slant,
or that little end route,
or he's running to a spot, right? And then he just makes it happen after that. That's why I think Rome Odunze. That's why I think he's really gonna get down, assuming that the offensive coordinator uses him properly. Don't beat yourself upside the head with what does his route tree look like. Do what he does well, and that's turning his body, readjusting, tracking the ball, jumping over dudes, and just being physical. Go get ball guy. Like that's what he is, and he can run.
You nailed him. You've got this guy cold. I mean, and this is. I think this is one of the most confident wide receivers in the country. I do. I think this guy. I think he is and I say that with all respect, because. You're right. For a 6'3", 215-pound guy, the smaller and the tighter the area, the more likely he's coming down with the ball. Sure. He is amazing with how he's able to adjust and make receptions where he appears he's got no shot. And I think the route running, I think he is a big-time route runner. I mean, as far as the way he's able to get and to sell it, and he's not afraid to push at the end of it. You know, he can get away with a couple of those. But, you know, the key one for me is they're playing the Apple Cup against Washington State in a rivalry game and it's a 4th and 1. What do? They give him the ball in a reverse, and it sets up the winning points. You know, he plays at a very high level. You don't see many flaws to his game. All three of these wide receivers we talked about are special players, in my opinion.
Yep, we're not going to know what's going to happen until it happens. So it'll be fun. So let's get back into this mock draft. So Bailey Zappi gets to throw to Marvin Harris. I'm sure Marvin hates that. But Kyler gets Neighbors, which would be fantastic for them. So the Chargers are going to go. Boy, we are slugging through this daggone mock draft, but it's okay. We're going to go.
No. I'll tell you what, real quick. I just like a couple of spots I want to talk. I know you're slogging through it like you are.
Yeah, by far.
The problem I have, go down to number 8.
Please, let's do this.
Go down to number 8.
Okay, can I go? Can I start? Can I do this?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think if you have an opportunity to get a top tier player, I think you should take them over getting the quarterback just because he's a quarterback. J.J. McCarthy is not an 8th overall dude. In my mind, if you draft J.J. McCarthy, that's just like taking Desmond Ridder. You might as well go free agency or just find some other dude. J.J. McCarthy is not elevating. And sorry, J.J. McCarthy and his family. I'm just being honest. He's not elevating your program like that, right? Now, if you want to make the parallel that, hey, Michigan was run first. He's a run first quarterback scheme guy. Bijan's going to come in here. You know what's going to help Bijan? Drafting one of these offensive tackles. That'll help Bijan. You want to?
Yeah, I agree. That's where there's certain points in this draft, and I love what we're doing here because there's certain points in this draft. I just kind of go, man, would I do this if I was sitting in that chair?
Arthur Smith would rather throw the ball to Jonnu Smith than Kyle Pitts. How about your offense coordinator? Use Kyle Pitts, use Bijan, use Drake London, and then let's get another dude in here and use that guy. J.J. McCarthy ain't helping nobody. I'd rather you trade up to go get a guy. J.J. McCarthy, I would if you're picking at 8 and J.J. McCarthy's staring you in the face, go look at somebody else. Go stare one. Go get Rome Odunze right here, or go get Fuaga. Both those guys better than J.J. McCarthy. I hate this.
Go. I knew you were going to bring the fire on that one. That's why
I hated this.
That spot.
What did you think, Bryan? Go ahead.
No, I agree. I told you hit the nail on the head. I mean, I get it, and you're trying to, you're doing these mock drafts and you're trying to kind of fill needs but sometimes you fill them and you go, is that really the right guy to fill it with? But anyway, that's kind of where I'm at. You hit it right. You absolutely hit it right.
I hated that too, man. We can bounce around this thing a little bit, man. That's the one point I really wanted to get into, Brian. JJ McCarthy early. That is nonsense, man. I hated that. Anyway, let's move. How about this? The Falcons can go get Daniel Jones since the Giants are getting Jayden Daniels. How about that?
There you go.
Ridiculous. Let's see. Odunze goes 9. Taliese Fuaga. I love
Fuaga. There you go. This is the guy. You're on this train. You've been riding this train, right?
Have I
been reading your tweets right about this guy?
I'm not putting out any rankings until
Will calls you out every time and something goes. Every time somebody something about that Oregon State tackle, you get tagged in it as well.
Well,
are you on the campaign? Is he your best tackle?
He's not my best tackle, but I think he should be in the conversation for. He should. No. So I will say this though. I'm a
coward. I got alt. I got
alt too. But Brian, when I watch Fuaga,
he can play.
People fly off the field, man.
He can play.
He removes people from the field, and you know, I think everybody has challenges, right? Alt is a great physical run blocking dude. You know, he kind of leans in the passing game a little bit, but he's still solid feet. Fashino, fantastic pass blocking technique. You know, he versus Michigan, he had a really good run game, but you know, the rest of his games kind of still had a little bit of work to do there. Taliese, there are no questions about his run game. Like fresh out the box, you grab your favorite knife, you open your Amazon, he's ready to run block for you right now. Falcons, he's ready to run block for you right now. And if you look at his athletic profile, right, he's another humongous dude. I don't know what his arm length is like, but he's another humongous dude that moves incredibly. I got some film for it that moves incredibly. Taliese Fuaga is probably.
No, you don't have to sell me.
Okay,
you don't have to sell me. I feel embarrassed that I'm so late to your party right now. I'm bringing a bag of ice. I'm so late to the. I should have brought you a bottle of Johnny Walker Blue. Is what I should have brought you.
I forgive you.
Instead, I'm bringing a bag of ice. You know, because you're right about the player.
Yeah,
you're absolutely right about the player.
It's just that, you know, if I had to pick a guy. And if I had to
pick him behind all, matter of fact, I do. I mean, the way my stack is right now on my edge, it's Alt and Fuaga, and then our guy from Penn State. That's how I got it.
Brian, if I had all these guys and they said, "Hey, Voch, we're gonna give you all the tools you need to fix what they're bad at, fix their deficiencies," right? I feel like you can't teach attitude. You can't teach big athleticism. You can't teach strong enough to push dude off the film. You can't teach that, Brian. I'm taking Fuaga and whatever, I'm sending him to the damn Duke Manyweather because he can fix people in a week, in 5 weeks. I'm sending him to Duke, and Taliese Fuaga, like that dude does everything, even if he's raw at it. Look at him just moving dudes out the way. How about this? How about this, Cowboy fans, right? I mean, run game, you're having issues moving guys out of A gap, moving guys out of damn. Look, you could put Fuaga at guard year one if you want to.
Sure.
Fine 75. Brian, look at this. Fine 75. Right tackle right here. Whoever's in his gap ain't gonna be there.
No.
By the time the damn play is over, I'm taking Taliese Fuaga and I'm moving on with my life. Come on, Brian.
Yeah, I totally agree with you too. I mean, he is a nightmare for these edges to have to deal with because he's just such a powerful man, and he moves so well. I mean, you get him. Look at that in space, and that's the width of the pocket right there.
Yeah,
just watch the kick. Here's 2-point stance. That right foot's gonna bam. Look how much depth he keeps the width of the pocket right there.
Yeah.
People. He's a great run blocker. You're absolutely right about the run blocking stuff.
Yeah. And
just look at that. Look at. I mean, he's
second level blocking right here, Brian.
He's damn near the safety box. I mean, look at this. It's like cut off. Okay, and that guy's got no shot.
Brian, there's something you always say about Cowboys former center Travis Frederick. He cuts it in half, right? He cuts
the defense in that right there. Go back if we could. I know it's going to run again.
Right here.
This right here is the example of cutting the defense.
He's removing B gap.
Look at the gap. Look at the gap behind him. Look at that gap behind him.
Brian,
that right there, guys and gals, is cutting the defense in half. Right there.
I'm just watching Taliese Fuaga. Latu right here. I'm just watching Taliese Fuaga, man. I'm like, hey, man, I don't participate in groupthink. Groupthink is not my thing. Look at him mauling Laiatu Latu right here.
I like I said, I showed up with a bag of ice to the party. I should have brought you a bottle of Johnny Walker Blue. You were right about this guy.
We'll talk about it one day, Bryan Broaddus, but I just watched this dude, and I'm just like, man, Panay Sewell is mauling dudes like that right now. He's mauling dudes just like that right now with the Lions. I'm just like, hey, man, we'll see. We'll cross that road when we get there. Let's get back to some more. Let's run down a couple of these picks here, man. Dallas Turner to the Vikings. That's a little high for me, but whatever.
That's way high for me, man. Don't talk me off the ledge on this one, please. Talk me off the ledge.
I cannot.
This is the one. The one of Daniel Jeremiah's first mock drafts, he had Atlanta taking this Dallas Turner at 8.
It's too high.
And I look down. I mean, I look down. I'm like, please, somebody out there, tell me what I'm missing.
Yeah.
Tell me what I'm missing.
Well,
I think Braswell on the other side is just as good. You know, I'm. This is a guy that I have a shot to be really, really wrong about.
Sure. And it's all about athleticism, right? Like he has the athletic profile, and he's one of those dudes where, hey, man, if you're right, you're a genius. But if you're wrong, there's a lot of dudes that have been athletic, but they don't have the nuance, right? Dallas Turner is a notorious run down the middle of you guy. He's a notorious doesn't have a second playing guy. The best looking athlete in the room. The best looking athlete. Now, if you have Micah Parsons coach that taught him how to be Von Miller overnight, then cool. You have one in Dallas Turner because that athletic profile kind of makes a little bit of sense. But if you can't teach him like how to have a counter or how to, shuck or how to club, if you can't teach him that, man, then Tyron Smith is gonna grab him by the shoulders and he gonna start moving, man. Facts.
You made me feel so much better on this day. I thank you, Voch. I thank you so much for making me feel better about, because I keep seeing that Turner up there as the best. And I'm not going to window dress my board. I'm not going to do that. I will die on that hill. I will die on that hill with this guy.
So Brian, the same thing with Penn State, Chop Robinson, right? He's another super athletic run down the middle of you guy. I don't know how these guys are going to deal. So they can beat some guys in the league, right? Like they'll be able to run circles around some dudes. But think about what the Texans did. Will Anderson. What was so good about Will Anderson is that he knows ball. He knows these hand fights. He understands how to play the run. He understands, okay, well, this is, that's play action. I'm coming to get you. He knows how to counter, get back inside, play B gap. He has a tool belt of things that can beat that can beat tackles in the league. So that's how he had this early run as a rookie to where, okay, he's making plays, he's getting sacks, he's successful. Dallas Turner is athletic, but he doesn't have that tool belt, right? And it goes back to Jacksonville had the first overall pick. They should have took Hutchinson, but they took
Walker, right?
Travon Walker, right? They saw this athleticism in Travon Walker, so they said, hey, we're gonna go by this analytic grade and take the best athlete on the board. Boy, that's cute.
You're speaking the truth right now,
Brian. That's cute. But Aiden Hutchinson knew how to deal with people. He knew how to speed the rush. He knew how to bull. He knew how to play B gap and rush against those guards. Travon Walker did not. So he's just an athletic out there guy. I could be wrong. We totally could be wrong. But I think Dallas Turner could be an athletic out there guy that doesn't know how to play his position or defense.
I'm dying on that hill with you, man. Everything that you said, if we were sitting in a draft room together, I would say Voch is right. I mean, he's right here. This is I see the player the same way.
Sure.
I keep seeing that name, and I'm like going, man, I wouldn't have the stones to pick him if I was up there like that. And I'm sure this will come back and haunt me one day, but I right now, I'm not going to window dress my board on that.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the guy right behind him, Jared Verse out here punching the hell out of people. He out here playing good versus the run. He out here bending, you know what I mean? Jared Verse, where is he at? Number 5 on the right side of the screen.
There. Yeah, he's the right edge there against my LSU Tigers there.
And I'm like,
there's the strong punch and all that. Now, I'll say this though. Some people might think this is a little high for him. Yeah. If you look at overall, I'm one of these guys that, believe it or not, I have Verse over Turner on my stack right now as we speak. I'm looking at these guys, these edges. When you start to talk about, I love the UCLA kid, Latu, Verse, Turner, Robinson from Missouri is another guy I really, really like. Yeah. But right now I just can't bring myself to for the Turner thing. We've talked about that, but I think Verse is a hell of a football player. I really, really do.
I could be wrong though. I was wrong about Parsons. I didn't think he was that kind of pass rush.
We didn't see that though, Voch. I mean, you can't. I talked to the scout. I talked to Stuckey, the scout who went to that did Parsons at Penn State.
Sure.
And I asked him point blank. I'm like, Stuckey, man, did you see the pass rush ability and all that? He goes, Bryan, no, we didn't. He was the first guy in for the Cowboys. He loves the player. Yeah. He brought it to the attention, to the room, to everything. Justin Stuckey. And he said, no, Bryan, really didn't. If you show me the tape where Penn State played Micah Parsons as an edge rusher and he had the kind of production that he had. No, this is mom and dad. This is God-given ability is what this is. And it's Dan Quinn being desperate enough because Tank Lawrence got hurt in the practice and he didn't have a rusher for the Chargers game. That's how this all materialized. Yeah. This sometimes the football gods give you a gift, and they gave you a gift in Micah Parsons.
We got lucky, man. We got lucky.
Yeah, damn right you did. Because the scout who initially saw him didn't. He said, "No, Bryan, I really didn't. We really didn't." And I went back and I'm like, he sat out that COVID year, so you had to go back and look at tape. So no. Yeah. Nobody, scouts should not blame themselves for that one because nobody saw that one. Nobody did.
For sure. I think cornerback Terrion Arnold is better than Verse and Dallas Turner. So
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. And there's a side of me that might put Arnold at safety. I think there's some interchangeable. I mean, he is a damn good corner. Don't get me wrong. But there's some side of me. I think there's a really versatile player there with the size, the tackling ability, the ability to cover. Man, he's got some special traits. He really, really does.
Yep, sees the ball well in the air.
Sure does.
Yeah, ball skills. Sure does. There's a handful of corners this year, Bryan, that what I really like in the corner is that you just don't get stuck on coverage, right? Once the ball's in the air, you're like, all right, I'm leaving. I'm just gonna go get the ball, right? Like there's a certain element to his game where he's go get ball guy. Mitchell's another guy like that. We're gonna talk about Rachel and all these guys. Hang tight. We're coming. We're on the way here because I have watched some of these corners, boy, and boy, Rakestraw's another one. I'm just going down this little hill, but whatever. We'll cross that road.
Do you like Rakestraw?
I love Rakestraw to pieces. I think that corner is generally a boring position to watch. I can't stand it. I get sleepy, right? But when you find a corner that's physical and he knows how to be physical and is not just jamming at the line of scrimmage, like I'm physical the whole way with you, right? But I know how to use my hands, but I'm tugging on you, but I know how to sneakily tug on you and, fight for the football, fighting through you to get to the football, all that kind of stuff. Also too, what I noticed, because Zimmer's on the way, so I'm just noticing a lot of these teams playing match, right? Bama and Missouri play a little bit of it, and I just love seeing those guys communicate. They point, they talk. You know what I mean? I just love smart corners that can talk their way through coverage and what's going on the other side. I'm looking at Rakestraw. I like him way more than Nate Wiggins. I'm not even getting Nate Wiggins right now. I like him a little more than Iowa. DeJean, but Terrion Arnold is my cornerback number one so far, but Rakestraw is like my clear cornerback.
Have you seen the Tampa kid from Iowa State?
TJ Tampa, not yet, sir. Not yet.
Okay, good. Okay, you'll get to him. Yeah. You're working through your corners. You'll get to him.
Yes, sir. Did you have something on Nate Wiggins? Because I'm not.
Yeah, you caught my.
I don't see it in Nate Wiggins.
Vibe, didn't you?
I don't see it in Nate Wiggins just yet. I was just watching him, and maybe it's the order in which you watch guys. So, hey, I'm impressed with Terrion Arnold. Hey, I'm impressed with Cooper DeJean. Hey, I'm impressed with Rakestraw. Let's see what this Nate Wiggins kid do. And I almost dozed off on him. So can you tell me what I'm missing in Wiggins, please?
Yeah, I think the thing with Wiggins is, you're talking about a long guy, and you're looking at a guy he's 6'2", he's 185 pounds, and he's got speed and he's got really quick feet. And I think he's super competitive in the way he plays. I watched the North Carolina, the Miami, and the North Carolina State games. And so I think he's one of those guys that's not afraid to mix it up. There's snaps where he appears really super aggressive, and he likes to kind of hand fight down the field. I think he could be a hard guy to run away from because of his feet and the ability to stay in position. He can make up ground. If there's some separation there, you could see him close to get back in. We call it the click and close, the back pedal when he back pedals and then click, boom, and then goes forward. Yep. I think he's really got some skill for that. The ball skills are really good. I think he's a loose hip guy, top end speed, and can get going in a hurry. So the flip of the hips, the mirror, these are all things that I saw, and I can understand why people might have some problems with him because he's another one of those guys that 6'2", 185, he looks thin. Yeah. I mean, you look at him, but I think that when you watch him play, all the other traits that he has makes up maybe a little bit from the lack of bulk that he doesn't have.
Sure. And it could just be me watching him after watching these other, physical guys.
Hey, like I say, man, I always tell people this when they ask me, man, my chocolate chips, your Rocky Road. Sure. Everybody sees these guys differently. Yeah. And that's the cool thing about it. Yeah. I mean, you put it out there, you see what you see, you try not to get influenced. I will say this though, if you've got to me, and this was the problem I have with a guy like Dallas Turner, that I feel like, and I'm glad you're with me on this one, but sometimes when you talk about group think, and sometimes media scouts get group think is what they do, and then all of a sudden you start talking to the NFL scouts and like, you've got that guy too high or you've got that guy too low, and you kind of figure out the ranges of where guys need to be. But I never have a problem. If somebody sees a player in a different way and we're in a room where there's 6, 7 guys and gals watching tape and 5 of them think this way and I think this way, you got, 5 guys and gals are generally pretty right about things.
Sure.
If they're watching the tape the right way.
Sure. Let's get back into this one. Let's see. And I talked about this earlier this week on my show. Appreciate y'all for, tuning in if y'all was tuned in. But Brock Bowers, man, so I have a weird relationship with tight end, right? and Brock Bowers is incredible. Love him. Shouts out to him. Great player, right? But I think tight end value is right up there with like running back, man. Like you're gonna have to blow me away. You're gonna have to blow me away from me. Cause look, I got a dude that we just drafted in the daggum 4th round 2 years ago.
You take him at 24?
I'm not taking Brock Bowers at cause Brian, like you can find tight end, man. I think you can find.
Can you find this guy at 24?
I think him as a receiver is very impressive, but I need him to give me can he be Laporta for you? Like day one.
I think he can. We had a great discussion. We had a great discussion on the draft show yesterday.
Got to catch that.
And Aisha Morrison brought it up. And Aisha is one of the smartest people I've ever been around. That young lady has got a good eye for this stuff. I swear to God, if I was running a department, I would hire her right now. She's got a great eye for this stuff.
Shouts out to 2I.
And I love talking ball with her about it because she understands scheme and all that. She brought up about if, a potential slider, a potential, because of just what you said, the value for the position and where it all kind of translates. This is a guy that's probably got top 5 talent, catching the football, run after catch, but he could also go at 24.
Sure.
And we had the discussion yesterday on the draft show about that. Would you stand in there and take Brock Bowers at 24, or would you entertain potentially dropping down to Kansas City and holding them up for their 2 or their 3 or their 4? Maybe you hold them up for their 2 and their 5, or maybe you hold them up, for their 3 and their 4. I mean, you can make it work where you can get the 31 and you can get one of these offensive linemen that you like, but pick up some more picks. But man, there was hard for some of us to. At 24, he would be probably the best player on the board for a lot of us is what he would be. So, now, if you and I think Nick Harris even brought it up, or maybe even Aisha, brought it up or Bobby, somebody brought it up, okay, that this is potentially like your CeeDee Lamb situation.
Sure.
Where all of a sudden, your best player is on the board. You're supposed to be taking a defensive end here. No, wait, we're taking the wide receiver when you really don't need to take the wide receiver. So this is a very interesting pick. I don't think he gets to you, but if he does, I think you can get a haul for him if you want to jump out of that spot.
So let's do this. I'm asking you, right? Brock Bowers or let's say Jordan Morgan.
I take Brock Bowers.
Brock Bowers. Okay, let me.
I'm going to take Brock Bowers over all these cats.
Okay,
man.
well let's
serious.
turn some heat up then. Brock Bowers or Jackson Powers Johnson.
Okay, now you just slam me right in the face. I'm going to take the center.
Okay.
You know why? The only position that I feel like I'm going to take because of a need is center. Yeah. And if the best center is sitting on the board, I'm going to do that. But listen, this is what we talked about yesterday.
Sure.
With that Kansas City trade.
Yeah.
If you say Brock Bowers is there and Kansas City, would like to have a tight end, like to come aggressive. They see a tight end sliding. They see the best tight end sliding, and they're thinking, we need to go get this guy before somebody else does.
Sure.
We were looking at 32, Dallas's own pick at 56, 87, 95, 133. That's if you were to move that pick to Kansas City.
Yeah.
Those are your picks now.
I need those picks.
Think about how you could think about how, or you could hold them up. You could hold them up for 64. Yeah. You get 32, you get your own at 56, and then 64. Yeah. All in the second round. Think about how good we led the show today with the Bears and what they could do with potentially the first pick.
Sure.
You could do the same thing. But if you ask me, the only thing for Dallas Cowboys that I'm looking at for need, that if the best player that I need is on that board and it's a center, I think I'm going that direction over Brock Bowers. That's going to sound crazy, but that's how I feel about that. That's how strongly I feel about that position right now.
I think I can get you another time, Brian. Let me see. Can I get you what about Bowers versus JC Latham? Let's say he falls, right? Which one of those guys?
I'm taking Bowers because I'm not as high on Latham as a lot of people are.
Got you. So
he's an outstanding player. Yeah. He is, but I mean, I think Bowers is going to be better.
So if it's not Jackson Powers Johnson, you're just going to take the tight end. I got you.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm just there's specific. I'm trying to keep an open mind about this. I really, really am. But I know this team desperately needs a center.
Sure.
And the best center. Sure. They need the best center.
Fair enough. All right, sounds good.
Well, now tell me, okay, you're kind of thinking of it as the same position, the running back and the tight end of the same position.
It's just value for me.
The kid in Texas is a damn good tight end if you want a tight end too.
Sure. And normally, right? Normally, it takes tight ends maybe a year or two to get going. Sam Laporta just showed up day one and just started whooping ass. That's different.
You were right about Sam Laporta, that head coach.
For sure. 100%.
He was right.
100%.
Mike McCarthy, he was right about him.
Yeah.
He was.
Damn, man, just what if, shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? But
yeah, and you know what was so surprising, Voch, is we were sitting there on draft day at the Star, and I was talking with Todd Archer, and Archer's like, man, they love this Sam Laporta from Iowa.
And we was like, what? Sam Laporta?
And we all started, and this is like 30 minutes before the draft. Archer's like, listen, I got a name. I'll tell you right before the draft. I want to make sure I'm going to try and run this down.
Yeah.
He said Sam Laporta is a guy they really like. Wow. And I'm like going, what? I'm like, okay, I like Laporta, but at 26?
Sure. Would you say
they were right? They were right. They should have picked Sam Laporta at 26.
So do you think, and I don't even know if I asked you this already. So do you think that Brock Bowers can do what Laporta did this year?
Better. I think he'd be better.
He'd be better. Okay.
See, the thing about him is, to me,
Iowa tight ends, man. Iowa tight ends hard to miss with those dudes in general.
No. You're not wrong. I just think that Bowers has got this. I mean, watch the Auburn game. He single-handedly won the Auburn game.
Guy, toughness, running over dudes.
Yeah. And you're kind of like going, damn, he he's a problem to cover.
Sure.
He's tough. I mean, he's not going to be a great blocker. That's not. I mean, that if you're going to ask him to block, but when did you turn into like 1975 guy with this block and tight end thing you're now having? Like, you're a young man. You're not like me. You're not this old dude.
I'll tell you.
That watched like football with Gene Fugit and Billy Joe Dupree and all that playing in the league.
Iowa tight ends make me do it because George Kittle and T.J. Hockenson was out there blocking the hell out of people, and I was like, boy, I love my tight ends with people.
All those guys.
All those guys. That's what did it. But yeah, man, Bowers, man, it's interesting, and if Bowers does fall like this to the bottom of the draft, he's going to be paired with a fantastic quarterback. Right here is Burrow.
No kidding.
So he's bound to be one of those guys, man. But
I'll tell you what, it makes if in fact Jake Ferguson hadn't had a really good year,
we'd be talking about
and that guy came down to you at 24.
Yeah.
You would be kind of thinking about it. But right now you got some Jake Ferguson love in your body right now.
If Ferguson wasn't here, I'd be upset because that means Mozzie wasn't helping us, and that means Luke was not helping us. That means I got to find another tackle and another tight end, boy. I'd be
Can I ask you a real quick question?
Please, sir.
Sweat, the defensive tackle of Texas. You think he gets the second round?
He should.
Dallas's pick at 56.
So that's the hard part, right? And that's the thing about these
argument we had, not the argument, the discussion we had at the draft show yesterday.
These teams that just didn't do well, not only do they get the top of the draft, but they get the top of the second. Those picks in the 30s and 40s, man, those are everybody that so we can love Sweat, Edgerrin Cooper, guys like that. Graham Barton. Graham Barton, those dudes gonna be gone in the 40s. 30s and 40s, those dudes gonna be gone. So us sitting in the back, we have to reach, right? If we really like a dude, hey man, this dude.
Man, you're preaching the right way right now.
Sure.
You got to think almost around early. You almost, because you ain't coming back. It ain't coming back around to you.
Sure.
It just ain't coming back around to you.
Sure.
It did one time though. They got Diggs. They were talking about Diggs as a first round player that one year. They took CD.
Sure.
Ended up getting him at 60.
Yeah.
So.
And
it happens, but rarely.
Yeah, and fans always telling us, man, like, hey, man, we could just trade back, but man, it take two teams to trade back. Like, I gotta call you and be like,
Brother,
hey, give me your picks. Give me your picks.
You got your fastball working today, man.
Yeah.
On the black, you're right.
Yeah.
Because you could call Stephen Jones and Will McClay can call all they want.
Mm-hmm.
Teams on the other end have got to be like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, let's do it.
Yeah.
And the way the Cowboys operate, they try and go for the kill.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
nobody's gonna say take my picks for you. You know what I mean? So if you want Graham Barton, you either got to trade back or reach for him, man. That's just how it is. So we're just gonna miss a lot of those guys. So Sweat is a early second round special, and we're gonna miss him because we won too many games. It is what it is. It is what it is. Can't take him at 24.
What, man, I was sitting there thinking yesterday we had a chance, and then now the way. All these smart people, Aisha, they're like, no, that guy ain't going to be there. Shut up, Broaddus.
He'll be gone.
What are you talking about? That guy ain't going to be there. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
Oh, man, shoulda, coulda,
woulda. In this draft. What else you got in this thing?
So Jackson Powers, Troy Fats, Leatu Latu. So, injury's probably going to make him fall a little bit more.
Yeah, I think maybe a little bit more on that one, too. Yeah.
We talked about Rick Straw. If the Texans find a way to get Brian Thomas Jr., man, they just add another element to their team because they made it work with Nico Collins and Cowboy players I don't like, former Cowboy players I don't like. So you just give those guys, Tank Dell comes back, Brian Thomas, and Nico.
Brian Thomas is another LSU guy. Really, here's a guy long, fast. Mm-hmm. Extends. Yeah, Brian Thomas is a good player. He really, really is.
And then the Dallas Cowboys land Tyler Guyton, in which
I'm not hating the pick now. I'm not hating the pick. The more I'm studying the sport, I'm not hating the pick.
Yeah.
I'm really not hating it.
If this is what we fall into, I'm fine, right? Hey, Jackson Powers is gone. Some of these other guys are going. Cool. If he's truly the best player, then fine. Trust, plus Brian, Tyler Guyton is not very refined, I would say. But the Cowboys have a knack. If they take offensive line in the first round, and if they take these raw players, they just find a way to make these dudes playable. So if Tyler Guyton's going to be the dude, he's going to transform into a whole nother character by the time we get to September. That's just what the Cowboys do. So,
all right, Bosch, let me ask you a question here.
Please, sir.
And this is the discussion we had on the draft show yesterday.
Please, sir.
If if your intent is to draft Guyton, should you take the free agent money that you were going to give Tyron Smith and let him go?
I keep them all. Because what's gonna happen is Tyron Smith is gonna sit down for some weeks. It's just bound to happen. And I don't want to hoard picks in that way, but I'm not sure of what's happening with my right tackle. You know what I mean? I don't know what's gonna happen with
what you're doing here. I see what you're doing.
I have no clue what's gonna happen with Terrence is gonna have to prove to me that, hey, this was just a knee thing, and I'll be back to being regular Terrence in no time. It took Gallup a little while. Tony wasn't the same dude. I don't know. Injury scared the hell out of me now. So if I'm taking Guyton, it sucks, Cowboy fans. It kind of sucks to hear this. Your first round pick can't play right now, but it is what it is. Your team should be set up to where your draft pick
right now, Voch.
It's fine, because you know what's gonna happen. We're gonna either have questions about Terrence or Tyron. I'm just knocking on wood. Yeah. Tyron's gonna do Tyron things, right? If you want to put Guyton at guard until you figure it out, then cool. But there's gonna come a situation where Guyton is gonna have an opportunity to play, and you're gonna have to play him. I asked you 3 weeks ago, Brian. Maybe it was 5 weeks ago, whatever it was. I was like, it really sucks that we don't know what we have in Hoffman, Bass, and Richards. It sucks that we have no clue. Well, Bass is probably fine, but we have no clue what we have in Austin Richards. I don't know what he's going to be. I don't know if he's improved or not. So we have to pretend as that, hey, Tyron's old, Terrence is a question mark. And it doesn't look like Tyler's moving anywhere. Tyler Smith. He's not moving anywhere. So you technically need tackle. If you take Guyton's probably going to need some weeks to get acclimated anyway. So, hey, let him be your swing tackle guy. If it goes bad with Terrence, you got your right tackle, and Guyton played your right tackle in college. And if if you're going to draft, you better damn well hope he can play left tackle also. If not, you better trade back or something. But that's where we at with it.
No, I like what you're saying. I just think to me, the discussion I had is, if I know that I'm that hell bent on getting an offensive tackle, and you're right, we don't know what Austin Richards is. We really don't. They drafted Austin Richards and they chose to play Adoga. Yeah, you know that's and you know, I had somebody last night on Twitter say, well, hey, they're telling us that Tyler Smith is the future left tackle. I haven't seen that yet. Me neither. I haven't seen that. I've seen him. He played the previous year because Tyron Smith was gone for the whole entire year. He was done. They needed him to play left tackle. Yeah. Their intent of moving Tyler Smith out to tackle, I haven't seen that yet.
Sure. Plus,
so
Brian,
I could use the $12 million on somebody else if my intent is to really look at one of these offensive tackles.
The only scenario, first round, where the Cowboys draft a kid and they play immediately is center and wide receiver. I'm assuming that we're moving on from Broaddus. I'm assuming that we're going to move on from Gallup. Besides that, if you draft a corner, they're going to have to sit down. If you draft a guard, they're going to have to sit down. If you draft
a safety, you might get a start if you get, say, Nubin or somebody like that.
Possibly, but 24 may be a little high for him, depending. I don't know. We'll see. But so, you know, you would have to sit Guyton, and you may not like it, but you may have to sit all these players. Like even here, Brian, Frazier goes 29th. I think first round's a little high. I think he's a plug and play guy, but I think 24 may be a little high for Frazier. I don't know. I'm just, Mims is sitting.
You just said it.
I know.
Sometimes you have to take a guy.
You have to.
Sometimes you even said it, and it was so eloquent the way you said it. It made me believe, like, okay, but you're saying it's a little high for Frazier.
I'm phony, Brian. I'm phony. I'll tell you why, though, bro. I'll tell you why. Because I love Jackson Powers and I love Barton. I like Zach Frazier. You see what I'm saying?
Okay, so you would take Barton. You have Barton over Frazier.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Barton at 24 would not. That's cool for you, right?
Putting them at center. Let's do it. Yes, sir.
Okay, that's cool.
Yes, sir.
So your plug and plays are, well, they're all going to be plug and plays because if you draft them. But
yes, sir.
Your order is your Oregon, Duke, and then West Virginia. Those are your orders of your guy.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. That's where we at right now.
I flipped.
Okay.
I got Oregon, West Virginia, Duke. but the tags are that.
And it's,
I mean, I just got them like that.
So you and look, I don't hate what you're saying because I'm the guy that likes, day one dude, right? See, Barton doesn't play center, so he has to learn center.
That's
Zach Frazier has a black belt in center right now. I get you 100%. Zach Frazier's out the box, ready to go. So I don't hate that at all. I just think Barton is the better offensive lineman. Frazier may be the better center, but Barton is the better lineman right now. If we needed guard, like, hey, Barton can come plug in and play guard right now for you. You see, but center's a whole different. I played center, so I understand center's a different animal than guard and tackle. So I get that. So
me too.
Fair point. Fair point. Let's do this, Bryan. At the end of this draft here, we'll just do these last 5, and then I got these would you rathers here. Sure. Frazier, Mims, Barton, Troy Franklin. I watched Troy Franklin a little bit, solid player. But I started looking up and down this mock draft, Bryan. And I was like, hey, there's a couple of dudes I wouldn't necessarily put on this mock here, but then there's some dudes that didn't make it that I love a lot more than those guys. I wanted to run down a couple of those dudes with you, right? So we talked about Chris Braswell earlier. Yeah. Chop Robinson made it on this mock draft at 28, and Darius Robinson from Missouri, Senior Bowl guy, made a lot of his money there. He made it to the Cardinals at 27. I like Chris Braswell from Alabama better than both of those guys, right? So, Bryan, hit me with a would you rather. Am I off on that, right? Do you think that Braswell should be on this mock draft instead of Chop Robinson or Darius? How do you have those guys ranked right now? Darius Robinson, Chop Robinson, and Chris Braswell.
I really like what you're doing here. I like what the way I saw the edges, and I mentioned guys like Robinson, and then I actually like the two Robinsons. I like the Trice kid from Washington,
Braylon Trice, yes,
and then Braswell. So if the 6 that I evaluated, I have the 4 in the first, and then really actually it's 7, the 4 in the first, and then 3 in the second. Robinson from Missouri, Trice from Washington, and then Braswell from Alabama would be my second round guys. Is how I have that right now.
Because you like the technical guys, you like the nuance.
Braswell,
dudes.
like I said, I mean, to me, like, the whole thing, we went through that thing with Turner. I think when you watch Braswell play, there's some things about him that actually some traits that are a little bit better than what Turner brings to the game.
Sure.
Sure. I mean, you talk about having a plan, not rushing down the middle, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
I think Braswell is a pretty solid guy when it comes to that stuff. I think the Missouri kid and the Washington kid are a little bit more, I get a little bit more flex with them. But I think they've got just maybe a little bit more they've all really good pass rush skills. The Chop Robinson one is interesting to me because I'm kind of betting on the athletic ability there because he flashes that ability to rush the passer. But you're right about the stuff that going down the middle on these guys.
Yeah, man. I'm just kind of lost on. Well, I'm not lost on Chop. I know exactly where I am with him. It's just he just doesn't know, right? But with your point on versatility, Darius Robinson and Braylon Trice, they're like bigger body dudes. They can do some B gap stuff for you. Braswell can do some outside linebacker things for you. Pass rush. Braswell's a strong dude, man. He really is. He has reps where he's punching, reading, reacting, stacking, and shedding tackles, not just tight ends, but tackles. But he also has his own ability to kind of bend and run the arc a little bit.
No,
so
you're right. And and as I look at my stackings too, this kid led the SEC in pressures with 56 last year.
Sure.
I mean, he makes a ton of plays when he's playing on the move.
Yeah.
And he tends to end up right where the quarterback is, where you watch Turner and sometimes he's going by the guy and things like that, but the closing speed with this guy, I mean, he doesn't stay blocked long. You're right about that. The hands, the controlling part of the hands, the retrace, the instinct, the balance, the awareness. You go back, I was kind of looking for some special team stuff. I saw where he blocked a field goal in the Texas A&M game, which resulted in a scoop and score. I mean, he's got that ability to create turnovers. This is a really good, at 6'3", 255. There's a lot to like. You're more right about this player than I am. And that's, and my board at this point doesn't reflect that, but it probably needs to be adjusted to have him, have him a little bit higher than where I have him.
Daniel Jeremiah, can open up a restaurant selling club sandwiches, how he got Zach Frazier, Armarius Mims, and Graham Barton stacked up in there. Just offensive line talk, right? The whole line we're just talking about.
Yeah, that's the whole thing about it is, man, this is a really good offensive line draft.
Yes, sir.
You know, I mean, a tackle especially, you know, the value there is tremendous. It's going to go down, and we haven't seen this many centers in a long time. We'll see what happens with the guards and stuff, but the tackles and the centers, pretty impressive group so far.
You know what I think though, Brian? Just looking at how Jeremiah has it right here, if I had to guess of why this would happen, I would imagine that offensive line is just getting wiped out right now, right?
Yeah.
Alt, Fashino, Fuaga, J.C. Latham, all those guys fly off the board. Troy Fautanu from Washington, they fly off the board right now, right? So if I'm a GM at the back of the first round, let's just say I need offensive line, you may not value on a regular day, right? Let's just say hypothetically, Frazier, Mims, Barton, you may not value those guys that high on a regular day, but once you run out of those names, you got guys like Kingsley Sewell Matea, who's fine, but he's not a first round, second round guy. Christian Hayes, I'm not a Patrick Paul fan from Houston at all.
Not at all. Not at all. There's a kid Foster from Missouri that's a pretty good player. We can look at the Yale kid will get some consideration there. But you're right about that. You know, I think to me this is where I think this. You look at all those top names, and then this is where Morgan, our guy Morgan from Arizona, comes into play here.
Here we go.
You know, people are going to say like, and Morgan might turn out to be the best one of the lot, or he might be, you know, he's considered the sixth best.
Sure.
And then when he plays, he turns into the third best. You know, he's got that kind of ability. The thing that scares me about Mims, the thing that scares me the most about Mims is the number of games he's played.
Yeah.
That's the scary part to me.
8.
You know, I wanna really, really like him. But he's, you know, we're looking at 8 games.
Yes, sir.
You know, I mean, it's tough. That's a tough evaluation for me. And there's a lot of people that really, really, really like this kid. You know, they're betting on the come there. But man, I don't know. I mean, that's a little bit of a struggle for me right now. I would rather have a guy like Morgan that I've seen play a bunch than I would Mims. Maybe the ceiling for Mims is way, way higher than Morgan. But man, there's a lot of things, the way that Morgan moves and adjusts and no wasted movements and stuff like that. I mean, I'm a big fan of his. But if you're sitting there at the back end of the draft,
sure.
How many times were we watching, getting ready for Cowboy games, and the Cowboys were watching the opponent and it's bad offensive line, bad offensive line, bad offensive line. There's a lot of teams that have bad offensive line. And this might be a draft to be able to help some people maybe get this thing going in the right direction.
Do you have Jordan Morgan ranked higher than Graham Barton from Duke?
I would. Yes, I would.
I do too. I do too.
Yep.
Jordan Morgan ranked higher than Zach Frazier?
Yes, I would.
Yeah, I agree too. And you know, not only that, but I like Jordan Morgan as a tackle higher than these guys, right?
I do too.
You know, they got him ranked as a guard. Everybody's saying Jordan Morgan
he can play tackle. I think he could still play tackle.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. People are saying, "Oh, he's like a heavy." No, he's not. He's not a heavy-footed guy or anything like that. I mean, the way his body type. No, he wears number 77. There's some traits. He looks like friggin' Tyron Smith out there moving the way he does.
Sure.
You know, I mean, he's got knee bend. He sets well. He gets away from the line. He punches people. He's a powerful guy. He's good in the run game, second level. I mean, he could end up being a guy that all these guys like Alton, Fuaga, and you know, Guyton and Latham, we're talking about all those guys. This guy can end up being one of the best ones out of that group.
Sure. One last one, Bryan Broaddus. On this mock draft, I'll pull it back up here. Troy Franklin from Oregon went 32nd to the Chiefs. That's ridiculous for the Chiefs because they just any wide receiver they get. And I don't know how to say this first name, but Adonai Mitchell from Texas. Adonai Mitchell went 26. But I noticed that a couple of other wide receivers didn't make this list, and Keon Coleman was one of them. I have seen Keon Coleman in a handful of first-round mocks. Where do you have Keon Coleman, and then where is he versus Adonai Mitchell, and Troy Franklin? Where is he at for you?
Neighbors, Harrison, Odunze, Thomas, first round for me. Coleman, the top of the second round for me. Now, when I say second round, I've got 24 first round names right now, and that's pending because of medicals or any kind of thing that might take a guy out. But I've got 24 first round names. So it's so my 25th guy would be somebody like a Coleman. He would be in that mix. So still going to take it in the first round. Not every board has 32 guys. I mean, not every board, sometimes you put your board together, you have 20 first round grades, 22 first round grades, 24 first round grades. So Coleman would be right in that mix for me, but I have him as my 5th best wide receiver in this draft.
Sure. I like Coleman. I like him more than Mitchell. I really like Franklin. Franklin moves around the formation.
He's very good.
Big slot. Sick. Now he's another thin dude too though. He's like 180 something, 185 maybe.
Right.
But can run. It's Brian. It's so many tall can run dudes. So many tall. Yeah. I think he's probably gonna have. I don't want to say he has a hands issue, but he focus drops a little bit. So that that may be a thing. But Keon Coleman, he's full body guy. He's like 6'3", 215 or so. Right. And he brings, yak to the party. He brings 50-50 ball to the party. He brings all that kind of stuff to the party.
He's a great punt returner too. They put him back there just kind of as they needed him, and all of a sudden he's one of the better ones in the country. A big old guy returning the ball like that.
Wow.
Run after catch. He's tough. I mean, if Florida State's quarterback doesn't get hurt, they're going to be a problem for teams in that playoff. Yeah. They were going to be a problem for everybody in that playoff. And unfortunately, those kids didn't get to shine like they had all year.
Yeah. I'm a fan of Coleman, and shouts out to my guy Foots the King, fan of him also. And, I'm not saying that you take Keon Coleman 24th overall or anything like that, but if there's any way I could sell my soul, get an extra pick, maybe at the top of the second, Brian, once again, we just talk about it again. If I can get in that range, man, I would love to have a dude to just, hey, Dak, throw it in his direction somewhere, and he just goes and bullies somebody, right? I would love to have a guy like that.
He is in here. I mean, if you want to run it back, I don't watch his feet after the catch. Watch this. There.
Yeah.
And now the burst to finish that thing out.
Just
the ability, just a tall, long guy that will go up and get the football right there. There you go, there.
Yeah.
Fighting a defensive back for the ball. I appreciate all these LSU highlights you're throwing at him right now.
Hey, you know what? Defense is terrible. They make for great highlights, Brian.
When you're this bad on defense, but there you go. There's that little smoke screen getting it up the field. I mean, this guy's a special player. He really, really is. He will go and get the football. When guys are draped all over him, we're seeing him right here on these clips, playing on the outside. And I'm saying you can make a highlight reel of just his punt returns too, that are just super impressive the way he plays.
Brian, let me ask you something. Last question for the day. Do you think he's better than Michael Gallup right now?
Yeah, I think he is, because he's a more confident player. I don't particularly see Michael Gallup being a really, really competent football player right now.
Yeah.
This kid he's got the ability. Michael's still a little bit of a body catcher. This guy will extend to get the ball. And I know when I say body catcher, we all think of Terrence Williams and bad body catchers and that. But this guy right here is a really confident football player. And his size is super impressive. He'll go get the football. The thing with Michael, I don't know, sometimes he's a little bit of a 50-50. Michael makes some incredible contorting plays. This guy just makes, I think, far, far more plays than what Michael Gallup would make. I think we might be seeing the final days of a Michael Gallup here.
Do you think that wide receiver is in the Cowboys draft plans at all, or do you think they're going to try to lean on Jalen Tolbert and Jalen Brooks?
I think they're going to lean on those guys. I think they're going to, and I know that does you no good right now.
Good as this wide receiver class is, we're going to lean on.
Well, but what? Like you say, they don't have if they had some picks in the middle of this draft, if they trade back and you grab an extra 3 or you grab a 4, then maybe you throw that into the mix.
Sure.
But I would say that they're probably going to lean on those young kids and see where they're at, and then and go from there.
Yeah. Brian, this is our longest episode to date. I apologize for that, but it just kind of.
Man, I got a day off today. I'm like, I'm going to sit there. I'm going to grab something to eat, and then I'm going to start watching some more films. So this has been a lot of fun for me and a good way to start my day.
I enjoyed the hell out of it, man. Appreciate you so much for being here. I say it all the time. And
thank you, sir. Thanks for having me. Thanks for all your, thanks for the family out there. We appreciate every one of you guys.
Appreciate y'all too. Voch Lombardi everywhere y'all are here, so y'all know where to find me at. But Bryan Broaddus, Love of the Star podcast, the DallasCowboys.com draft show. You can also catch him on G-Bag Nation 105.3 The Fan 2 to 7. And Bryan Broaddus on Twitter, BRYN Broaddus. All right. Y'all appreciate y'all, man. We'll catch y'all next week. We'll talk about some more corners, not the ones that we talked about today, because that'll be redundant. We'll talk about the next crew. Peace, y'all. Salute.